All right. Hello, everybody. Dustin with Giant Rocketship. I appreciate you attending our weekly office hours. I always like to do a quick check. If everybody can confirm that they can hear me, just need one person. That would be awesome. And while we're doing that, I am going to start bringing up Autotask to get this show on the road. Let's see here. All right, perfect. Looks like we have some people rocking and rolling. Again, if you're not able to hear me, just let me know. And I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's get going. So, quick reminder what this is about. This is my weekly office hours. I am the founder of Giant Rocketship, and we empower MSPs to accelerate faster through automation of dispatch, escalations, and scheduling inside of Rocketship and soon to be ConnectWise. So in my office hours, I go over any updates inside of Rocketship, the application. Spend about a minute on that, but the bulk of it is answering your questions about Autotask. And so by all means, put your questions into the Q&A, and then I will get to them now or in the next one. And also, I brought a topic to this one that is rarely discussed and underutilized, and I think it's very important for people to really understand the power in them, and that is going to be ticket categories, task categories, and how powerful that can be. People don't truly understand what the purpose of ticket and task categories are. They just know that they come out of the box with Autotask, and they rarely fine-tune them, and that is to your detriment. So we're going to be going through that. First, quick update about Rocketship and our application that integrates with Autotask. In the last week and a half, some development releases have been the inclusion of the ability to assign workflows to each escalation tier. I'm going to show you why that's important. And then also the ability to set up outbound webhooks. And that opens up a whole world of possibilities, meaning Rocketship can now fully integrate with Microsoft Teams, Zapier, Integromat Make, just pretty much any no-code platform out there can now get notifications and updates out of Rocketship so that you can act and behave off of that. So what I'm going to do quick is I'm going to bring up a screen. I'm going to stop sharing for 2 seconds. And I want to bring up quick overview of these changes just to make everybody's life easier. I'm going to bring it up into a dedicated window. I'm going to reshare. And here we go. All right, so this is the admin portal for Rocketship, and the 2 dev releases that we just had come out. I'm going to show you how these work. So in the escalation rules, when you're setting up your escalation tiers and the teams for each of these rules, VIP customers, alerts, default, now what we can do, and this is super powerful, is you can actually go into the team itself and define an escalation, a workflow that triggers, and you can decide whether or not that overrules the parent workflow. So if we escalate a ticket, let's say that the parent workflow sets the ticket to escalated, and then we auto schedule a service call for tomorrow at 2 p.m. You can also schedule a separate workflow, and then if you don't override it, this one will work in addition to the parent workflow. That's super powerful. And the reason is when you hook this into the webhook system that we also deployed at the same time, you can set this up for escalation notifications. So like, let's say that you have an after hours resource, and whenever a ticket is auto escalated, let's say a new ticket comes into alerts at the P1, a critical ticket, then you can set up a specialized workflow that will page or notify that person that they've had an escalated ticket after hours. Great for after hour teams, but also, and I'm moving quickly because we only have a little bit of time dedicated to this in these office hours. Also, you can set up this webhook And these webhooks are going to be really powerful because you can send notifications. Here's an example of sending a notification to a team and Microsoft Teams to a channel. You can do all kind of amazing things with the webhooks now. By all means, look at our documentation so you can see how that works. Okay, great. So let's move forward. So what I would like to do now, and everyone, so you can see me pause to look for the questions that are coming in. And we will hit some of those, but I want to really focus on ticket and task categories. So let's take a look. Let's pull up a ticket. I'm inside of Autotask. This is the workboard for the text from Rocketship. But what we want to do is let's just pull up any old ticket. Actually, let's go ahead and create a ticket and see what it looks like with the default ticket category. And then we're going to manipulate some categories, ticket categories, so you can really see the power here. So we have a ticket that comes in, right? This is standard. And it's a high ticket, yada, yada, issue type. Almost doesn't matter. Let's just do this, bada bing, bada boom. And test ticket. I guess it wants me to actually name this thing. And here's where things get interesting. Look at all this information we're presenting to our technician, right? It's a little overwhelming, right? Not only is this overwhelming, it's not necessary in a lot of situations. For example, maybe if we have a backup alert, right? Some of this is not needed. We might need the configuration line for backup alerts, but do we really need to see the opportunity related to a backup alert, right? Do we need to see all these user-defined fields? Do we need to see the billing? And just as powerful, when we track our time, does the technician need to have all of, let's see here, billing? Does the technician need to see all this information? Because maybe if I'm working a backup ticket, IT on site is not the correct charge for that, right? So what we do as MSPs is we train our technicians. Hey, remember, if you're doing backups, pick the backup work type. If you're doing an on-site, pick the on-site work type. But man, in 1960, they had this problem solved, right? And so the solution is don't give your technician the option to choose IT on-site for backup tickets. It makes no sense, right? And so you're training your technicians to make all these decisions. Doesn't make sense. Let Autotask do that for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go create a ticket category specific to our NOC people so that they don't have to make decisions, because their decisions typically will be the opposite of what you expected, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to ticket categories under admin, and let's just go ahead and copy this puppy. And we're going to go ahead and create this as NOC tickets, NOC alerts. Okay. Right, and then let's give it a special color. It's a NOC alert, so we're going to make it red. Now, there's not much happening here. I'm going to go ahead and change this to this new ticket category, NOC alerts, right? So great, now we have a red one. This is awesome. We made some progress here. But look, we still have way too much data and decision making for our team. So let's go tweak this. Again, and actually I meant to tell you this caveat up front. Don't overcomplicate things. Always follow KISS. Don't necessarily want 5,000 ticket categories. One thing is they're very cumbersome to set up and manage. But also start simple. Maybe break out your core service lines and then create a ticket category for each. But watch the power here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start removing things, right? Do not need to see opportunity in a situation, right? Maybe we do or don't want them to see the account contact. Let's just go ahead and leave that there. But maybe it's less about the contact, and it's more just about the account, because there's not an actual contact that goes with this, right? And so next, we're also going to limit what they can do with the ticket. Maybe we have ticket statuses that are not relevant to a NOC backup alert. And so what we're going to do here is let's just make believe here. If it's a NOC backup alert, Maybe it doesn't make sense that we're going to order ports. And maybe we never have to wait for approval from the customer. That's part of our MSP agreement. We just do it. And let's see what else. And maybe we never need to bring in our account manager to deal with something, right? Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to move that from the options available to the technician. And then maybe we have a whole different set of priorities for our NOC team, right? So maybe they have, you've created priorities just specific to them. And just to make that work here, we're just going to remove below. Right. And then also, maybe we don't have all this stuff here. We don't need to look at user-defined fields. Right. We don't need to look at the, let's see, what's another good one we just want to remove here? Maybe we don't need to see the purchase order as an example. So again, one of the issues is we often have to overtrain our staff because we've given them decision making that they don't need. And so we get tired of them making the wrong decisions because they're not trained. So we train them and then we're like, oh goodness, we have to hire somebody and retrain them. All these very complex workflows we've built up in our organization. And honestly, 9 out of 10 times, really, you just need to remove the decision making technicians so they don't have to worry about it. Right. And so now look at our ticket category. We're just cleaning this puppy up. That's smaller. This is a lot less data. Okay, now we have some progress here. And notice if our statuses have been changed. And now, let's go back over here. NOC alerts. And now notice that those statuses are no longer available, right? And so it gets even better. So let's say that we have a quality control process in our organization. And in the quality control process, you want it to go from in progress to waiting quality control, but you never want the technician to send it right to complete, right? And so that's fine. Don't let them do it. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into details and then the status. And then we're going to remove the ability for them to manually force it into complete. Now they're going to have to send it to waiting QC. And the way you put it into complete is you create a workflow rule in Autotask that once it's moved from waiting quality control to quality control approved, then after a day, it sets it to complete. That's usually how you would handle that. And so what we want to do is enable complete, get rid of that complete button entirely. Now we've enforced a quality control process that the technician cannot get around. We're only refreshing. I'm not sure if it instantly picks it up or not. So now let's say that we try to add a note and force this complete. Notice there's no complete button up here. And I can't complete it from here either. It's not even available, right? And so now we've completely changed the dynamics of what the technician is seeing based on the needs of that type of work. And so let's do one more thing. I talked about ticket time and removing that confusion from your staff. Remember, this is a NOC ticket. And so what we want to do is we want to change the work types available to the technician. Do we need to go on site for a backup alert? No. And so what we're going to do here is let's agree that for a remote NOC, you triage a ticket. Maybe you bill you don't bill your time, but you add your time for that, and then you work on it remotely. And I made one mistake. Can't have a default that's not usable. So our new default is going to be that. Now we are going to do this, and these are remote. And these little changes make a dramatic difference to your technicians because, again, you don't have to constantly train, and then fuss at them as they make mistakes. And so, again, taking decisions away from technicians is a win for them. Because what you call a decision, I call a decision, to them is just bureaucracy and button clicking. right? Don't even have them worry about it. So now, not only can they not complete this ticket, they have to send it to quality control. Now they don't have to worry about the making a mistake on their billing, right? So for billing, it was already set there, so it's not going to unset it. And so let's say that it's this by default. And I guess it wants me to add notes and time. That's valid. But now going forward, on these tickets, this is the only 3 options they can make. They cannot accidentally choose IT on site for a not ticket. That is how you manage that process. You do not train technicians to choose the correct work types. That is not going to work. They're always going to mess it up. You're always going to be in your billing sheet fixing that. What you do is you remove the ability for them to make mistakes. Now, I'm going to show you a trick I learned a long time ago, which is, first, let's start off with this. Technicians are going to click the least amount of buttons possible. So you can say, look, IT remote time entry, always choose one of these. But, sometimes they don't. They don't do it. And then what happens is you have a bunch of time on your billing sheet for triage from your technical staff. And it's very frustrating. And you're constantly like, man, why did you leave it to the default? Go fix it. Here's how you fix that using ticket categories and time entry. It's a little ugly, but it works. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go create a special time entry that is so ugly, it cannot be missed. We're going to call this invalid bad code, right? The worst. It's the worst. And then if you bill this, the custom rate is some absurd number. This is called a sentinel value in programming. Okay, I didn't like that. You know what? Maybe I do have $1 million customer Autotask. Oh, it's not going like that either. Oh, good. All right, so it's $99,000. And so that way, if it gets through to accounting, it's going to be obvious something's wrong. But here's the magic, right? And so we're going to create this. And then by default, we're going to code our tickets, go to that work type. And what that does is it makes it so obvious in all of your billing sheets going forward that the technician missed it, right? You don't have to scan, triage, or whatever your default work type is to just hopefully find the mistakes. You want to set it to where it's obvious that there's a mistake. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to details, and then we're going to say no. Let's see here. Valid bad code. Going forward, when we create these tickets, and then you would also want to make sure any kind of automation that's creating tickets on your behalf does this. Again, it's ugly, but it's a sentinel value. Sentinel values are always ugly. They're intended to be ugly. And so now, when you create new tickets, and we're going to go edit this one because it already exists now. I don't feel like creating a new one due to limited time. When you create the new tickets, you're going to make sure that that is the default work type on those tickets, right? And so here's the power is when that person goes to record their time, and then they don't, look, they don't change it. They're just like, man, I'm not going to deal with the speed code. I'm too important. I'm too busy. I am too busy to deal with you guys. Erg. All right, we're going to go ahead and track that. We're going to save and close it. And pending quality control. Look, I even have that status ready for us. Again, use the speed code for that, but technicians, you can't force them to click the button. Well, what's amazing here is now they just track their time. And then when we're doing our approve and post process, right? Instead of like looking for all the little mistakes that are tricky and hard to find, what we're going to do is approve and post. We're going to just make it so obvious that it screams out to us. And there's something else we can do for that. Labor is, look at this, hourly rate. Do you think that's going to get through accounting, right? A $24,999 charge, right? Impossible for that to get through accounting unless you just have really high billing rates. And that's magic. You no longer have to like eyeball for mistakes. The mistakes come to you very easily. And here's the really nice thing, dashboards. Let's go create a nice little dashboard. So your billing person and your technicians can both have a dashboard that says, show me all of my work entries. I wish I could use a mouse. Bad time entries. You see where this is going. And so count of work entries, order by, can we do by resource here? Resource. And billing type is going to be work type is equal to, that's how you build a billing dashboard, right? Now, by using ticket categories, we've restricted the ability for people to choose the wrong time entry, the work types. And now, if they still don't choose the correct work type from the very limited set that we gave them, it's going to show up in a dashboard. And I personally will put this dashboard on the billing person's dashboard, and the technicians should have this. And their goal is every day, this should be 0. And by the afternoon, make sure you go fix your time entries. That's how you create an automation machine in terms of the right billing codes being put into your system and reducing decision fatigue and making sure that your team's doing the best that they can. Okay, cool. So actually, I spent a lot more time than I expected on that. It's 10:25. Let's see, any other questions that are relevant to this? Nope. And so what I do is I invite people to send their emails, Dustin@giantrocketship.com. I am going to post this on YouTube so that you can see it at your leisure. And send me questions. A lot of these, including the task and ticket categories, came from requests via emails. When you email it to me, it lets me prepare it. You'll notice I had a more extensive review of it this time because that request was sent about a week and a half ago. And so again, Dustin Puryear, Giant Rocket Ship. We are going to empower your MSP to do more with less. All right, thank you and goodbye.